Aaron Smith is in the building. John started, but very, very, very special guest. He was on, was that last weekend, Nathan? Nathan Wilson's back again. He's the guy driving down the road. We're mobile on this show. You know, we're pretty easy going.
Yeah, we are.
Tonight, what we're going to discuss is this college football bowl season. We're going to go over the New Year's Eve games, last night's game, New Year's Day games, and then today's games as well. John, let me ask you a question real quick, man, before we get all this going. When you look at this bowl season, and this question is for everybody, by the way. When you look at this bowl season, give me your most impressive team and the team that disappointed you the most. John, you go first.
Well, first of all is Nathan driving to Tuscaloosa.
I'm going to get there, buddy.
We're not going there yet.
I'm going to be on the news here in a minute.
Well, that's right. He's driving to Virginia. I forgot. He's driving to Virginia. I totally forgot.
Oh, my God.
But we'll talk about that later, like next 45 minutes or so. But my most improved team, or not my most improved, but my team that I'm surprised the most was I'm going to go with Kentucky's victory today over North Carolina State, and I'm going to go with Ole Miss over Indiana just because Ole Miss's defense came ready to play today. Indiana's offense was basically a no-call, no-show. It didn't seem like they were very much happy about going down to good old Tampa, Florida, and playing Ole Miss because they removed the Big Ten logo off their jerseys, and they put the Love Each Other symbol with that's Coach Allen's thing this year to say Love Each Other instead. And the Big Ten, or Indiana, just showed that why the Big Ten has been up and down all year. Start off, let me give Kentucky a lot of credit. Their offensive line showed out today with the running game, and they've held North Carolina State to a good amount of points. You know, I know North Carolina State was, like I said, missing their 4 defensive players, but I gotta give a lot of credit to Kentucky's defense by getting a lot of turnovers and their offensive line play because, you know, they lost their offensive line coach due to the cancer this year, and then coming back the way they did toward the end of the year and playing hard, you know, for that coach. And then they fired some of their coaches as well after that South Carolina game. You know, they fired, I think it was their offensive coordinator and their offensive line or tight end coach. Now their tight end coach is going to take over as the offensive coordinator at Kentucky. But those are my top 2 right there, especially Ole Miss finishing the year 4-1 in their last 5 ball games. And Matt Corral had a decent game today as well. He didn't throw no 5 interceptions or anything like that the last 2 ball games. And then congratulations to Lane Kiffin, you know, signing that contract extension after 1 year at Ole Miss. So as much as it pains me being a Memphis fan and don't like Ole Miss, but give Ole Miss a lot of credit today. You know, they fought, and they had a successful year under Lane Kiffin under year 1. My most disappointing team, I'm going to go with quite a few of them.
Oh my God!
There's one team, John, but it's okay. Go ahead.
I don't care, but there's more than one. Hey, there's more than one.
I agree. There's multiple teams that were very disappointing.
My picks are messed up right now. I'm about to call out these teams. Y'all better listen up.
Go ahead, John.
Maybe I'll go with one of them will be Miami. Although King tore his ACL in that game. Prayers to King for a speedy recovery. I know he's going to come back for his senior season coming up, you know, for Miami. I'm going to give Miami probably a thumbs down just because their defense was a no-show in that game, especially when Oklahoma State's running game and the few leaders on offense optioned out in that game. And then I guess maybe Florida, just because, you know, I know Florida had 9 players optioned out that week of the football game, but you don't let your team down in the Cotton Bowl, especially when Kyle Trask is one of the Heisman finalists, you know, going into this game as well. And now he's throwing 3 interceptions on his first, felt like 10 passes. When me and you were texting like, oh crap, what was going on regarding them being down 17-0, I did not expect that at all. And then I'm gonna go with good old.
I didn't either.
And then I'm gonna go with Lou Fickell as the head coach just because of his play calls in the last 5 minutes of the ball game against Georgia in the fourth quarter yesterday, which y'all know in detail what really went on regarding the play calls. And that's my soap rant right there.
All right, go ahead, Aaron.
All right. So I got so the most impressive team to me is Ohio State. I thought that game was going to be close. I thought Clemson was definitely going to win, but it was going to be close. But then I had this like gut feeling, and we all said it on the show, like we were starting to pick Ohio State, but I still thought it was going to be like a last second deal, like maybe they're going to win by a field goal or a touchdown. I was not expecting a beatdown, to Clemson. So that was the most impressive. The most disappointing to me is San Jose State. They were ranked good, and they get pummeled by Ball State, like pummeled. So that was like the most, to me. And then also, I mean, we'll probably talk about this later, but the whole Mississippi State Tulsa game, that was a great game to the end, like 28-26. But yeah, those brawls, they're interesting, but I like sportsmanship,
Most definitely. I'll give mine, and then I'll let Aaron. I'll let Nathan, because I'm sure he's got plenty to say. Especially after the day he's had today. He's an Alabama fan.
Oh my God, dude! Why does everybody want
we'll
our
leave it alone.
coaches?
We'll leave it alone. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I would have to say well, I'm kind of with John on this. I've got multiple teams. One of my most impressive, and I gave him a lot of props yesterday, and that's West Virginia. Number one, to step up and play a really good football team in the Army. They came into this game, I believe, 9-2. But not only to play them, but to beat them yesterday in what was a great football game, or not yesterday, the day before, but what was a great Liberty Bowl. When you really look at West Virginia, their defense really played well. Army only scored 3 touchdowns, and with Army and the way they just complete ball control. Got to give props to West Virginia for sure. But Aaron, like you said, I think the most impressive performance so far, and of course we got one game left, but Ohio State last night, it's not what they did, it's how they did it to Clemson. A performance that, like John has alluded to, no one saw coming. If you're an Alabama fan, I think you got to be a little bit concerned with just how good Ohio State really looked last night. I guess the two teams I'm disappointed in the most. First off is Houston. To only score 14 points against Hawaii. Dana Holgerson's never really impressed me. And the other team is Florida Atlantic. If you look at how they played against Memphis, it was just an uninspired football team all the way around, very undisciplined as well. Really just don't quite understand what Willie Taggart really brings to the table as a head coach. I've kind of missed that. But anyway, all right, Nathan.
Real quick, while you bring up Florida Atlantic real quick, especially when they, like you said, Willie Taggart has been around the game for so many years. I know he likes to jump ships from Oregon to Florida State and whatever.
Right.
But what about Jim Leavitt as their defensive coordinator? I thought Jim Leavitt's defense would basically blitz our offensive line a lot more, and they really didn't.
Yeah, you're right. They really didn't at all. I was expecting a lot more combo blitzes, kind of delayed blitzes as well. With our offensive line, and when I say our, I mean I'm talking Memphis. Just how shaky they've been in the games leading up to that bowl game. I completely agree, John. I was expecting a lot more blitz schemes, blitz packages to come at us, and it did not. Nathan, go ahead, man. I know you got a lot on your chest today.
Yeah. Where to start? Well, I will say this, and even though this team lost, I gotta say it. I gotta give props to Cincinnati, dude. They took on
Yeah.
a powerhouse in the SEC. You know, they took them on. I mean, I literally thought Cincinnati had the game. I mean, I literally thought they were about to walk away with it. So, first thing, you got to give it to Cincinnati. I mean, and Georgia, I know a lot of people say, well, Georgia, they didn't have so and so or whatever. It's still an SEC team, all right, and it's a powerhouse out of the East. So props to Cincinnati. Another team, and I gotta give them props, even though they lost to Coastal Carolina, man. I mean, wow. And if you ask me which one was the best ball game, it has to be the Liberty Coastal Carolina game by far. Both them teams just, I mean, it was just amazing watching that game. So props to both of them. Now it's like John said, you gotta give it up for Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin first year coming in taking out Indiana. I honestly didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I saw me and John talked about this earlier. Plumlee was playing receiver, so it was crazy watching that. But I mean, he did one hell of a job. But I mean, all in all, you got to give it for these teams that this whole COVID stuff. It's put a lot of teams out of the bowls. A lot of teams didn't show up. A lot of bowls were canceled, and some of these teams that had losing seasons got a chance to play. And giving them a chance, and some of them come out on top, and all this. I mean, that's pretty impressive. My disappointment, I have to go with Florida. I mean, I hate to see Kyle Trask get in a situation like that where his top receivers all just said, "We're not playing. We're done. We're gonna go get ready for the draft." And I'm sure it messed up his Heisman hopes and everything. Another team
killed.
I'm kind of
his Heisman hopes.
I mean, it killed. Yeah. Another team, Clemson. I was expecting something more out of Clemson against Ohio State. I mean, I actually had Clemson picked to beat Ohio State, so it was kind of a shocker to me that that Ohio State pulled it off. Even though I'm still trying, I know we'll probably talk about this later, but I'm still kind of figuring out that whole targeting call that was made.
Aaron can explain that.
Yeah.
So, because I didn't understand it. I mean, I just thought the quarterback got hit. So, but and another team I'm kind of disappointed in was Notre Dame. I expected something a little bit different out of Notre Dame. I mean, the way they talked, the whole way leading up about being the underdog, about being a different team than back in 2013. I was expecting a little bit more, something different, but I just hope Kelly. And think about it. And I noticed this. Notre Dame, and I don't know, and somebody's got to correct me on this. I think they're 0-7 in the BCS games now.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they are 0-7 in BCS and college playoff games. Ridiculous.
So after what happened to Tom Herman today with Texas, does that mean Brian Kelly's job might be up?
No, we'll talk about that later.
No, I think Brian Kelly's safe, and I think he deserves to be. He's a great coach. I take nothing away from him. John, do you want to get to some bowl games, man?
I was going to tell you also real quick. A team that disappointed me in the last few weeks was Marshall as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm giving Buffalo a ton of credit as well after the way they lost to Ball State in the MAC championship. but Marshall only scoring 10 points, and then they lost to Rice the way they did, toward the end of the year as well. And Posey just told me to tell you that you're talking crazy today. What's going on with that?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm talking crazy? What do you mean?
He said the West Virginia Army game is boring. The hell?
Whoa.
That was a great game. That was a great game.
It was a running play the whole
Ain't
time with
nothing wrong with
Army.
that game.
Army ran the ball every play. It's kind of obvious what they were going to do.
Speaking of which, what about Army's football players cheating on that exam?
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah.
They had 17 players out of 55 cadets supposedly cheat on a calculus exam. But they didn't name the players because they're still investigating.
I probably cheat on a calculus exam too, John.
Wait a minute. Whoa. While you're in the Army?
It doesn't matter. Cheating is cheating. It doesn't matter with what it's on. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen. But there's no but to it. It's just wrong. There's no other way to slice that pie, really. But Army still played a good game, and that game was not boring, Michael Posey. In my opinion, I love watching triple option. At the high school I went to, the first year I was there, we ran triple option because we didn't have anybody else. It was just us 14 people. Nathan knows exactly what I'm talking about. Dude, I played center. Never mind. We won't go there. It was a lot.
You played both sides of the field. You played kickoff. You played every position at Rossville, buddy.
There wasn't no water break. Yeah, it was.
That's right. He played football with you, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Was he the water boy too, Nathan?
No. We didn't come on the field, John. But,
I'm talking about the movie The Water Boy.
Oh my God.
John, all right. Are you ready, John, to get to the bowl games?
H2O.
So, New Year's Eve, we had 3 games on. Let's go ahead and talk about the first one, John. A game that I thought was going to be pretty exciting. It turned out to not be at all. And that's the Ball State-San Jose State game. Aaron was talking about it just a few minutes ago. Final score was 34-13, John. When you look at this San Jose State team, they only got a total of 347 yards. Third down conversions, John. We talk about it all season. 1 for 13 on third down, John. That's terrible. Final score was 34-13, like I said. Go ahead.
Credit Ball State Cardinals, first of all, by playing with no fans and just, scoring the way they did that well. First of all, that's the one I give credit to Ball State. San Jose State, to be honest with you, I didn't really notice until right before game time. I think I was texting Aaron. I'm like, Aaron, what's really going on regarding San Jose State? Essentially, Nick Starkle threw a pick 6, and I'm like, something's going on. They're missing their running back, their star running back. They're missing one of their star wide receivers. And then on top of that, their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator is not even coaching this game. And I'm like, okay, there's no articles. I can't find no articles why they're not even coaching this game. It don't make sense to me unless they're leaving for like another job nobody knows about. But I'm like, what's really going on regarding the Spartans? What happened to the same San Jose State team that beat Boise State in the Mountain West Championship? That's my question regarding San Jose State. But Wes, like you said,
I can tell you this: they didn't show up.
No, but like I said, I thought I didn't even notice about their offensive coach and their defensive coach not even coaching that game. And of course, everybody's got to re-around and say, "Hey, this is what's going on now." And then Nick Starkle just did not look impressive at all in that game.
No, he did not at all, John. I completely agree. Aaron, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's just it was almost like the Arkansas him, like he was just all over the place. So I don't know if it was the lack of the coaches that were at this game, but I mean, I swear he might as well just been putting on that Hog jersey again the way he played, Nick Starkle.
Yeah, it was definitely rough to watch, to be honest with you. And yeah, like John said, credit to Ball State. They made Nick Starkel look absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
In the bowl game, and credit to Ball State, they won. They lost their first game of the year and ran off 7 straight, I believe. So
Yeah.
I mean, that team definitely peaked at the right time and definitely played well. Nathan, go ahead.
I mean, it's like y'all said, I I couldn't believe it when I heard who who ended up winning this game. Uh, it was one of them games that it's like I said, you never know with these bowl games who's going to win, who's going to pull out. I mean, it's going to be a shocker, and a lot of these teams that won are teams that I'll be honest with you, I didn't pick some of them
Right. Yeah.
because I didn't think they could pull it off. But I mean, they proved me wrong. So the one thing about this whole COVID thing, you like I said, you get the teams that even have losing records that get in and play in these games. Ball State, I mean, Ball State's a good football team, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, yeah, Ball State earned it. Most definitely on the field. They made San Jose State look really bad. And like John said, yeah, San Jose State did have some extra curricular outside distractions for sure. But still, I mean, you got to come on the field ready to play. Up next, John, the game we talked about just a few minutes ago. I thought it was a great football game, but the ending of this game really just spoiled everything, and in my opinion, put a big black eye on college football as a whole. And of course, I'm talking about the Mississippi State Tulsa game. Tulsa came into this game ranked number 24 in the country, 6-3 on the season. John, what did you think about the game itself, not the post-game fiasco?
Well, first of all, I forgot to say about Ball State. Mike Mew is their football coach, and he's only been around the college football game probably like 5 years. He's the New Orleans quarterback coach at New Orleans Saints, by the way, and he was the Tulane quarterback coach back in 2012. But credit to him and his coaching staff, like we just talked about. I didn't realize he's only been in the college game for at least 5 years altogether as well. But yeah, Mississippi State, their defense, I was really impressed with their defense early on by giving Tulsa fits on the offense. And Mississippi State's defense really showed out the last couple of games. I know they struggled against Ole Miss, but it was in the high-power offense in Ole Miss. But Mike Leach, the only thing that really concerned me going into that game for Mississippi State was basically Tulsa's quarterback. Tulsa's quarterback's been pretty decent all year, Zach Smith. Zach Smith probably had the worst game of his this year in general against Mississippi State, in my opinion, because he was throwing into double coverage, triple coverage, even just throwing bad throws on single coverage at times, But again, I know Tulsa was missing one of their top linebackers in Zachary Collins, the defensive player of the year for the American Conference. But Tulsa, to me, is inexcusable to lose the way they did. They basically just did not – I mean, to me, you show a good showing against Cincinnati.
Yeah. I thought they played really, really well against Cincinnati.
And it sounded like, to me, the 32-degree temperatures might have hurt Tulsa when, they're not used to that 32-degree temperatures, I guess. But, yeah, Tulsa's quarterback really didn't look impressive to me, and I really thought it would be a better showing like he did against Cincinnati, the way that he rallied against Cincinnati in the second half and put up a good fight. And another thing, Tulsa's running game has not really been that good at all the last 3 ball games as well. I thought Tulsa would run the ball pretty well.
Yeah, if you look at this game, look at Tulsa. They had Stokes had 9 rushes for 117 yards. Santana had 4 rushes for 112. After that, it was pretty rough. 5 for 41, 4 for 41, 2 for 17. Zach Smith was 26 to 46. Excuse me. For 347 yards. If you look at the Mississippi State side of it, Will Rogers, I think this young man is really going to be the future of Mississippi State. Not a bad little quarterback at all from right there in Brandon, Mississippi. Was 19 of 30 for 148 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. If you look at Zach Smith, he threw the 2 really bad interceptions in that game. I take some credit from Tulsa, but I give some credit to Mississippi State. I feel like they fought in this game, John. There was no quit in these guys. I feel like Mike Leach may be onto something a little bit more than we realized down there in Starkville. But Aaron, the game itself was a great game. Now let's talk about the just complete black eye at the end of the game by both schools. I'm not taking anything away from either one of these schools because they were both very active in what happened. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, it was crazy. Like, I mean, just the chippiness, the shoving. Like, cut it out. Like, these teams need to cut it out. Like, I get it was a really good competitive game. I don't know what they're saying to each other, you know, because trust me, like, I mean, we all played a little football. Like, we get chippy. Like, we say stuff and we hear stuff. And also, I mean, I just wish these teams could just, or these players can just wipe it. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because even at that point, you're on national television, the country, and even the world. Because, I mean, you can get ESPN in South Africa if you wanted to. I mean, the world is watching you play, and you're acting like that. And it's just, it's horrible. And I don't know if it's all about ego and like frustration, you know, of losing, and then because also you can be a sore winner and you can be a sore loser, and I think this was a mixture of both of those. Mississippi State rubbing it in, and then Tulsa retaliating, or vice versa. But you know they're both guilty, and yeah, and it's like there's even a game today. Was it Kentucky?
Yeah.
NC State where they were like shoving each other, and I'm like, oh, please, like please don't. We've already seen the brawl of the year. Yeah. Don't give that to us again.
Let's not do it again.
You know. But can I? So what I really thought was really cool though, this Mississippi State Tulsa was a learning experience for the other teams. Because have you noticed, like, after that Mississippi State Tulsa game, and then you had today getting a little chippy, then all of a sudden out of the blue, the refs are right there. Like, they saw what happened, and they're going to learn from that and prevent it from happening again. You see what I'm saying?
Well, let me say something regarding what I think about that fight as well, because, like, it all started before the ball game even started in pregame warmups regarding shirt versus skins as well. It's just when as you call it in basketball terms. But me personally, like Kirk Herbstreit said yesterday on game day, the referees decide to, now instead of 60 minutes before kickoff, they come out 90 minutes before kickoff, just because of all this craziness going on regarding trippiness, talking back and forth between players. And me personally, I think the referees basically should have do a sportsmanlike conduct on both teams right at kickoff because of the trippiness, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then, you're letting – and then the referees, like, I know I'm not trying to bash referees because I got friends of mine that are referees either in high school or college. But me personally, the referees kind of did let it also out of hand as well. They basically did not really – I mean, they called it in sportsmanlike conduct penalties during the game, but they really did not get in detail and coach the coaching staff, or they might have done it, but to me, the head referee needs to go over to the coaches during the game or try to get both coaches at midfield during a timeout or something and say, hey, this is what's going to go on. If I see one more player on both sides, whatever, I'm going to eject him. And then, right after the game gets over, I'm going to go to right after the game gets over now, is because number 4 for Mississippi State kicked that player for Tulsa. And then he started running like a little wuss and started running. And then you want to bash him.
I thought you were going to say something else. Go ahead.
No. And then my problem is also, and then you're on freaking Instagram Live or Facebook Live or whatever you're using, and then you want to brag about it on social media? Come on, dude. Act like you're an adult, move on, and then just move on. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're just trying to get
my thing is, you won the game. It's not like you lost. Why are you mad? Why are you so upset? You won the football game. But just to piggyback off what you said about the officials, and I completely agree with everything you say, John, 100%. But just to add to it, you can't tell me the officials didn't know that both those teams were face-to-face, nose-to-nose at midfield before that game started. So before that game even starts, you go to both of those coaches, you get the athletic directors involved, you pull them to the side and say, look, anything goes on in this football game, we're throwing people out. You got to set a precedent at the very beginning of that game, and not just that game, but in my opinion, every football game, and say, look, here's the rules. You can either follow them or you can't. But if you can't, I don't care who you are, coach included, you're going to be thrown out of the game. There's too many coaches are running on the field to stop fights and running on the field to jump at officials. Why? Why are you running on the field? I understand. Trust me, I've been there. I've been on the sidelines, albeit youth football, but still, you do. You get emotional. I understand that, but as the officials, you gotta set a precedent at the very beginning of the season, and maybe they'll talk about that during the offseason, because I know every year they have certain things that the officials are making more of a higher priority. But you shouldn't have to have an absolute assault. That's what it was. It was an assault on numerous players, one of which, the Tulsa player, had a freaking concussion.
Yeah.
And police are involved. You shouldn't have to have a terrible incident like that to make changes. I just, that's my little soapbox on it. But I mean, it's sad to see, and it's frustrating. But what's even more frustrating is the lack of the amount of respect that I've lost from Mike Leach based on how he handled this in his post-game press conference. I just don't.
Absolutely. And then,
go ahead,
and then
John.
like you said also, for example, especially that player for Mississippi State got that sportsmanlike conduct penalty, jawing at that Tulsa player, like right on that onside kick when he stood over him and got hit. The way he did. And then Mike Leach and then no problem. I mean, as well, with especially the way Mike Leach, like I told y'all before we went live and whatnot, Mike Leach even went to the freaking student section and took some selfies. Go control your daggum players, and then after you leave, after everybody goes to the locker room, go take the selfies then. That's my point of view as well.
Exactly.
Don't, and then now they're talking about maybe pressing pressing charges against these players and whatnot as well. I just pray that the athletic directors, like y'all said, for both schools, hold both players or both teams accountable. And I hope that commissioners Greg Sankey and Mike Oresco do the right thing as well.
Yeah. And another thing, I just want to add this to what he was saying. See, when I sat there and watched it, the whole game, and watched the ending of it, I thought what started it was that big hit on the onside kick. I thought that is what started it, but it wasn't. There was more to it. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I think a coach or a coach assistant or something I don't know if it was State or Tulsa, but they were getting involved. Then you had guys that were not even dressed out getting involved. It's like, dude, why would you put yourself in that situation? You're already not playing. You probably just messed your whole self up. And I mean, for what? A few minutes of little showtime, or to make highlight or something? I mean, come on. I mean, I remember, and not not to bring anything back, but and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but Memphis had a situation like this.
Yeah.
Wasn't it,
Yeah, fortunately,
Miami
BYU
Beach
Against
Bowl.
BYU,
Miami
yeah.
Beach
Yeah.
Bowl. Yeah. That Memphis player put that BYU guy to sleep.
Yeah. So I mean, but the thing is that number 7 from Tulsa, putting on his helmet and going right back in, like,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? I mean, just you lost the game, you won the game. Congratulate each other. If you can't say nothing, congratulations or anything, get the hell back to the locker room. Just
exactly.
It's as easy as that.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it was just both sore winning and sore losing, just not being able to properly conduct yourselves.
Most definitely. John, it's time to talk about that boring Liberty Bowl game. You want to talk about that, or you want to skip it?
Wait.
I mean,
wait. I can sum it up. Option.
Pass.
It's
Please.
I don't know if Nathan will remember this or not, but at Rossville we had the KISS method. It was keep it simple, stupid, and it was triple option. And it was run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle. Oh, guess what's coming? Run up the middle. And then, we would flip it outside every now and then. It was very, dude, it was keep it simple, stupid. It was the KISS method.
Wes, who was that wasn't the Coach Harvey era, was it? When Coach Harvey was there?
No, it was the guy before Riccone. I can't think of what his name was.
Oh my God, yeah. I know you're talking about.
Hang on, you're not talking about Johnny Allen, are you?
No, I can't think of what his name was now, Nathan. It's slipped my mind. But anyway, we had a nice football game at the Liberty Bowl. Army ended up losing the game to West Virginia. West Virginia ended up getting the win.
I got that pick.
Since it's so boring.
Yeah, you did.
Since it's so boring, I guess we'll move along. We also had a canceled game. That day was Arkansas TU, which I was personally looking forward to. I thought it was going to be a great game. John, let's move on to New Year's Day games. Go ahead.
Well, hey, we got to give a lot of credit to West Virginia's quarterback, though, in that game, though.
John, we can't talk about the game. It was boring.
Yeah, it's too boring, man.
That's why I wanted to say.
I don't want to bore our fans like Michael Posey and talk about that game. I don't want to fall asleep.
John, you just said it was boring. We can't go back and talk about it now. Congratulations.
No, that's why. Hey, you said option. So I just said West Virginia's quarterback was good. There.
I mean, that's pretty much what it was. It's like, who's going to get the ball?
Yeah. John, let's talk about the Auburn Northwestern game first. Of course, Auburn has made a big change at the helm. We don't talk about it long.
No,
Brian
I'm just
Harsin,
saying.
the Boise State head coach, is now at Auburn as their head coach. The defensive coordinator was the assistant, or
Kevin Still,
the interim, head coach for this game. John, Northwestern ended up winning 35-19. Very impressive win by Northwestern.
24.
Also, there was some reports this week that a few players were opting out at Northwestern. Also, some rumors that there's a few NFL teams rumored to be looking at Pat Fitzgerald as their next head coach.
He ain't going nowhere.
I like Pat Fitzgerald. Been there since 2006. I think that is the perfect example of what happens when you give a guy time to build a program how he wants to build it. That's another guy that I would like to see stick around at Northwestern and just see how good they really can be. John, will Brian Harsin get it turned around at Auburn? And this question is for all three of y'all. When we look at Auburn, of course, they lost the bowl game. Should have lost to Arkansas. Just not very good. Chad Morris in that offense is just stagnant. There's nothing there. They've got a great running back.
Chad Morris
Yeah, it's
not good.
It's like watching paint dry, man. It's terrible. I
Yeah.
do like Tank. That what's his name? Tank Bigsby, the running back's pretty freshman kid. But
Bixby.
do you think that they'll? This is a two-part question. A, do you think he's the right man? And B, do you think Auburn will give him enough time? Aaron, go ahead.
I thought I was going first, but okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Here,
John.
I'll be quick.
No, Eric
okay.
can go first. It's okay.
Okay. I think we need to do the 3-year rule with him. Give him 3 years, see what he can do. Like he's not. Wait, he did coach at Arkansas State though, right? So he's kind of familiar with the South a little bit. So maybe he can use his footprint there and try to recruit some folks like out of Alabama and maybe Texas and things like that. But yeah, I give him 3 years. If he hasn't done anything in 3 years at Auburn, they had to say bye.
First off, let me talk about the game. First of all, I was kind of surprised that Auburn. I don't know if Kevin still even got a chance to interview for that job. To be honest with you, I think they just wanted to go with somebody that's been a head coach before in a decent non-power or in the Mountain West. But if Kevin still did not deserve to get, if he did not get an interview shot at the job, that's blame. I'm blaming the athletic department and whatnot for that game, just because for example, Ryan Silverfield coached the Cotton Bowl against Penn State, and Ryan Silverfield got that job probably, one, because the players love him, two, the players showed out in that game against Penn State, three, the coaches that were available for the Cotton Bowl pretty much trust Ryan Silverfield as well as the next football coach. But with Kevin still not, if he didn't get a shot at the interview process, I'll blame the athletic department 100% on this right now, because to me, Kevin Still should have basically, maybe the players were distracted by the new hire as well, because they like Kevin Still as a coach and a mentor and a role model and et cetera, By the way, Baylor's associate athletic director just got the Boise State athletic director job. But
nice.
But that's my point of view regarding this Auburn hire right now, because it's going to take time, to rebuild this program. I know, I'm just disappointed in the way they did it, the way they hired somebody before the bowl season. I know a lot of people hire coaches before the bowl season or before the bowl game, just because they want to go out there and recruit and whatnot. But the players could have, like it just said, players probably have trust in one guy in Kevin Still to lead the program maybe next year. Because last time I checked, Kevin Still was going to interview for the job, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, right after the bowl game. But again, with them hiring Brian Hartzell, like you said, Aaron, I think you got to give Brian Hartzell some time. He's definitely going to recruit well, because he did so well at Arkansas State that 1 year. And I think they almost beat Auburn that 1 year that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man, Wes. Like I said, he was born and raised in Boise. He loved the Boise State program. I think he played there as well at one time. But like you said, Aaron, you got to give a guy like this 3 to 4 years and then see what happens. And my question is now, who's maybe going to be his offensive coordinator and other coaches around Brian Hartzell? Because my question, I know Larry Porter, we talk about Larry Porter, he's done pretty well ever since he left Memphis as a special teams coach now at Auburn, or even a special teams coach at North Carolina. Was it North Carolina? But
he had nowhere to go but up from Memphis, though. Let's be honest.
But he's gonna. I'm just disappointed in the Auburn athletic. If they did not interview Kevin Still at all, because, like I said, the players get distracted by all this, especially when they name a coach before the game even started, because they trust somebody like Kevin Still to lead, their defense and be a head coach. Two things are harder than one.
Well, John. So, also, I think the mindset is completely moving away from that. So if Kevin Steele is a part of this Gus Malzahn, he's part of that mindset that he was a part of the team. You know, he was part of that Gus Malzahn coaching staff. So I get Auburn for being like, let's go a different direction, and to the point where it's like, we're going to fire Gus Malzahn, but going a different direction means going a complete different direction, like complete different coach that has nothing to do with Auburn ever, and then bringing him in, and that way he can bring his own coaches in and build something new. It's like starting from the bottom and going to the top, like starting from scratch. By the way? Yeah, it's just starting from scratch. And because, I mean, as a Hawk fan, that's exactly what Arkansas had to do. Like with when we got Sam Pittman, we had to start from scratch. You know, you don't see a coach that was part of that Chad Morris or even Brett Bielema, like it's all new guys. And I think Auburn's trying to do that same thing where it's like, scratch it out. Now here's the thing though, with that, you know, because, you know, Arkansas was bad. Like that coach deserved to be fired, 2 wins, whatever. But, and Arkansas has been bad for a few years now, but, I'm sorry, but as a Hawk fan, I would give anything to win 6 games every year, 7 games every year. So obviously I'm seeing that Auburn's expectations are higher. So doing the whole scratching it out, you may see Auburn be worse the next couple of years. Maybe only winning 4 games, 3 games.
Right.
Because they started from scratch.
Yeah. Now, see, I agree with Aaron on that because Auburn, see, the whole talk around Auburn, you know, they have a good program. Coming from an Alabama fan, I will say this: they do have a good program. They can recruit some players. I just think, I mean, to be honest with you, it's like I told Wes, they went after Bill Clark, UAB head coach. I literally thought that's who they were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I did not
that would have
expect
been a great hire by them,
and it would have been. Now,
I thought
Steve Sarkisian, well, that's another thing. You know, there was something that was told to me at the shop that, you know, Hugh Freeze. There were actually a little thing on Twitter that some Auburn fans, they didn't want Hugh. They didn't want good old Freeze there. And Freeze tweeted him back, said, "I'm not going to take the job anyways. I don't want to go to Auburn."
Yeah, because I think they said. Sorry, Nathan.
No, I'm just saying, why would you not want Hugh Freeze? I mean, I get what he did at Ole Miss. I get that. Okay, whatever. But dude, he's an offensive genius. He I mean, coming from somebody like an Alabama fan, he beat us. That's one person we, as Alabama fans, we didn't want to see Hugh Freeze go to Auburn. Yeah, twice. We don't want to see that. We don't want a coach being there that knows how to beat us. No. And he does. But Bill Clark would have been the perfect hire for Auburn. If I have to say this, this new coach they're bringing in from Boise State, Harsin, whatever his name is, I'll end up learning it because they're going to be playing Bama. But the thing about him is I compare him to a Gene Chizik. That's who I compare him to, Gene Chizik.
Good old Gene.
And but the thing about it is he's going to come in. He's going to have to learn. He's going to need a few years. You're right. I give him about 3.
Yeah.
Being the max. If he can't do that in 3 years.
In the next 2 years, though, I can see them getting worse because of the whole new coaching. So you might not even see them in a bowl game the next 2 years, and then maybe that 3rd year, that's when they'll start. Now, I don't know if Auburn will be patient enough for that. I don't know if that, because if that happens, they might cut him loose right away. But you got to be patient with the guy. Like I say that the reason why Arkansas got rid of Chad Morris so quick is because there was no growth. There was no view of a growth.
He sucked. That's why they got rid of him. It's because he sucked.
Yeah, he sucked. But the players quit playing for him.
Oh yeah.
Like you could tell when you fire a guy, and your whole team celebrates. There's a problem, It's like.
But here's
I
the thing.
completely agree.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to the Arkansas about Chad Morris. You look at what he. All right, at Arkansas, yeah, he sucked, dude. I mean, when I watched the game of the North Texas Arkansas, the punt that
was awesome.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah.
Did you just say that was awesome, John? That was the most. There is youth football teams that know to tackle that guy and not just stand there.
Wes,
Let him bump out.
Wes, it reminded me of a play. Remember wrong ball?
Yes. And you know what the funny thing is? I'm so glad you brought that up. I ran that in a youth football game, and it worked to a T. I mean, to a T. It worked perfect.
Oh, God.
No, I said that was awesome because I was
So
pulling for
funny.
North Texas to win that game, and also, and also, cool story. Like I said, my brother worked at North Texas at one time too, so
Yeah.
But going back to the hire, though, I mean,
Go ahead.
Hey, real quick, I didn't notice, but the non-conference schedule for for Auburn next year is at Akron, at Penn State, Georgia State, and Alabama State.
Oh, wow.
There's our 4 non-conference games right there.
Wow, man, that's a powerhouse non-conference schedule for a really good SEC. That's ridiculous. Oh my God, never mind. Go ahead.
But hey, like talk about the game real quick. Northwestern defense showed out again in that game as well. Except for the game against Ohio State. But yeah, credit Northwestern defense in that game. But I think
No, go ahead, John. Finish up what you're saying.
I was going to say also, I think Pat Fitzgerald, like you said, Wes, is going to be there for a long time, maybe like another 5 years or so. Like we're going to talk about Iowa State later, but I think Matt Campbell's the same way. I don't think he's going to leave Iowa State now anytime soon as well.
Look, all right.
Go ahead.
But look, I just want to say this. You talk about non-conference games right quick. I just want to put this one in there. And I'd love to see it. I want to see the Memphis versus Tennessee game. That's what I want them to play. I want to see the Liberty Bowl packed in full of Tennessee fans and Memphis fans. I just want to see them go at it.
See, I want something similar. I want that like in Little Rock too, like a Arkansas versus Arkansas State, like packing that War Memorial Stadium or something like that, So it's like similar, but yeah.
I'm sure Butch Jones will get on the schedule.
But yeah, Tennessee and Memphis.
Now that Butch Jones is at Arkansas State, it would not surprise me if we did not see that series happen. Now, Nathan, on the Tennessee-Memphis side of it, and this is just a fact, and I know we have Memphis or UT fans that watch this show, but Tennessee will only play us when it benefits them. And right now, it does not benefit Tennessee to play us because they won't win. And I will go ahead and say it here live on air. And yes, I'm a diehard Memphis fan. I think right now, if you line up Memphis and you line up Tennessee against each other for 10 games, Memphis would win 7 out of those 10.
Well, the reason I say that is because, I mean, Tennessee and Memphis, they play basketball against each other. Why not get a little football in there too? I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to sell out and if you want to have the Liberty Bowl just sold out, book that game. And I guarantee you it's going to be sold out.
And that's a part of that strengthening the non-conference that could eventually get Memphis into a playoff maybe. You play Tennessee every year because I do know Memphis plays Ole Miss. Ole Miss is an SEC school. So
yeah,
I'm with you, Nathan. Like, let's get Tennessee in there, Maybe in a year you play both Ole Miss and Tennessee.
Right. Now, I know we're going to get to this game a little later on, but I just want to bring this up. Georgia, Cincinnati. Right there. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If Cincinnati had to prove something, it was a battle. But if Cincinnati had to prove something, that's where they did it. So if that was a regular season game, that would have been a great way to prove something.
Oh, heck yeah. And here's my thing, and we'll just go ahead and get this out of the way now. All right, everybody wants to complain about these bowl games and wants to talk about how, players are opting out, players aren't playing because of their NFL stock. Okay, Dana Holgerson was on a Sirius XM radio show last week or the week before, and they were talking to him about bowl games. And he had what I think is a great idea. Instead of playing the bowl games at the beginning of the year, you play them at the beginning. Instead of playing at the end of the year, you play at the beginning. You put all these great the same way you match up bowl games at the end of the year, match them up at the beginning, and then play the regular season. And then at the end of the season,
like as week 0 game.
Yeah. But, say that last week of August, that last week before games get started in September, have that last week be some bowl games. And you can still have you can still have games, you can still have a national championship at the end of the year. That's fine. You can still do your playoff. That's fine. But play it at the beginning. Do it at the beginning. That way, give these games some meaning. But the issue with scheduling is this. It's done too far in advance. Yeah. Look at Memphis, Arkansas, for example. Yeah, for example, right now, look at Memphis and Arkansas. I say we being a Memphis fan and an Arkansas fan, we are scheduled to play each other in 2025.
Yep.
Who knows if that's even going to happen? I want it to happen. Me being a house divided, I for dang sure want it to happen. That's going to be a lot of fun in my house. But I want it to happen for both of those programs, both Memphis and Arkansas. That's a great game for both of those fan bases. It's not a bad drive for either fan base. You can put it in Little Rock to make it easier for both people to get there.
Well, one of them is in Little Rock. But yeah.
There's numerous. The problem is, right? But the problem is these schedules are made too far in advance. We saw this year, prime example, with that BYU Coastal Carolina game. You can put a game together in a week and still get it in and let it be played, and it can still turn out to be a great game.
Yeah. Now and also Alabama. We got Texas already scheduled up for a home away series. We got Notre Dame scheduled for a home away series. I believe Michigan's set up for one too, and they're just scattered, years away. And I'm just like, I want to see this now. I don't want to have to wait to see these matchups because I want to see, I don't want to have to wait and be like, oh, well, Notre Dame or Texas or whoever, they're not that great this year. And then you made me wait this whole time and it's not a good game.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. John, we'll go ahead and talk about your Georgia Bulldogs real quick.
Well,
Georgia and Cincinnati. What?
Yeah, Nathan does make an interesting point. Here's Alabama's future non-conference schedule. 2021, it's Miami, Southern Miss, New Mexico State, Mercer. 2022, Utah State at Texas, Louisiana Monroe, Austin Peay. 23, home for Texas at South Florida, which they signed a home and home with South Florida, and I totally forgot about. 2024, Western Kentucky, South Florida, and then at Wisconsin. So they do have a home and home with Wisconsin as well. And then if Norvell's still around, they go to Florida State as well in 2025. But like you said, Wes,
that was the one, Florida State.
But like you said, Wes, they have a home and home for crying out loud with Oklahoma in 2032 and 2033. Nobody wants to wait 15 years to see that. Everybody wants to see that now. But Nathan, we're talking about the Memphis Tennessee thing.
And my thing is, in 15 years, we don't even know if these teams are going to be decent. In 15 years, for all we know, freaking Rutgers and hell, I don't know. Just throw a team out there.
Washington,
San Diego State,
Akron.
Yeah,
can be the two best teams in the country, and Oklahoma and Alabama can be terrible. I mean, I just don't. I just feel like just bring it in. Don't schedule so far out. What's the point? And plus, if you short-term schedule, it keeps your fan base interested in what's happening. It really puts a lot of more emphasis on those recruiting classes every year if you're playing top-notch programs year in, year out.
And people like us can afford to go to games.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But
All
okay,
right,
so
John.
the Georgia,
we ain't got to work.
yeah, we don't have to be retired and old like in a nursing home or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Rolling up in a
John.
wheelchair.
Also, I was also thinking, like, why do we have to have these FCS teams? Like, if we have to play them, like, maybe, like, put them
Like
in
one
a
of them.
bowl game at the beginning of the season. Maybe do a preseason where you're playing against these FCS schools. That way you still pay them their $2 million and they still get that experience of playing with you, but it's a preseason game, you know, like I prefer that, you know, like maybe like that last couple of weeks of August, do preseason, college football preseason. I would love to
like
see
a scrimmage,
that.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden that opens up like Alabama's non-conference could be Texas, USC, Clemson, all these teams, and just pack it all in. You know what I
We
mean?
want Bama.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
No,
we
we
don't.
No,
don't.
you say
Not
you
right
want
now.
Bama, then you. But look, I do want to say this though. I want to add this to what Wes was talking about earlier.
Oh,
You know, you
Bama
talk about the
basketball, not
playoff.
football.
No. But to add to the the playoff thing, I think they should extend the playoffs. Go 8 teams. Put 8 teams, top 8. Put them in the playoff. Let them face off. You know.
116. Let's go.
Or how about this? If you're a New Year's Six bowl, that should be a playoff. New Year's Six bowl playoff.
I'll
It's
take
not
16
that
in a heartbeat.
hard. It's
That
not
way
that hard to add 2 more games to the playoff. I don't understand why they can't do it. There's already 4 teams in. 2 more games?
Yeah, but
how hard is that to squeeze in?
Yeah. Right, but what
I'll
I'm
take
saying
16
though
in a
is,
heartbeat.
but then again, you won't have these 4 powerhouse teams that are always in it every year. Everybody's like, well, we already know who's going to be in it. You're giving all these other ones, like Jimbo Fisher said. I mean, and he said it best. He said, we played Bama. When we played them, they had Jalen. They don't have him no more. You know, and we beat Florida, you know, and the only team we lost against was Alabama. Notre Dame lost to Clemson. I mean, they should have been out. So, you know, I think, and I honestly think this, I think if Texas A&M played Alabama again, I think it would be a better game to watch, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to
there's no doubt about
the
it.
whole right. But that goes back to the whole. They don't want 2 teams from the same conference in the playoff. That's not fair. Well,
but they just had it. The ACC had 2 teams.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, this year.
Exactly.
I mean, my question is, if we do expand the playoff like to 8 teams, for example, what champion are you taking? Are you taking the 4 extra conferences? I know we're taking the American Conference.
You take Power 5, SEC, everybody, all them. Then you take the American, that's 6, and then you have 2 at large.
You take the Mountain West.
You take Power 5, so you take SEC, Big 10, Big 12.
No, I'm talking about like in the other one for your at large. Are you going to take like a Boise State and the Mountain West champion?
Well, it all depends. Like if you have like this year, an at large could have been a Oklahoma or a Georgia, or Coastal. It could be like, you know what I mean, like
exactly could have been a coastal.
But wait a minute.
A coastal, yeah.
But here's the thing. And John just said something that reminded me. You look at a few years back, Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma, Boise State.
In Johnson, baby.
Best college football game to watch.
Statue of Liberty.
You know,
was so
and
beautiful.
Boise State,
so beautiful.
exactly. And Boise State pulled it off. I mean, who's to say that Coastal Carolina can't come up with something? I mean, you just never know because a lot of these players that go to like Coastal Carolina, Liberty, or something like that, most of these players are transfers from top 5 schools that don't get no playing time, so they take their talent elsewhere and show off. So, I mean,
you're exactly right.
Give them a chance.
Yeah.
And then we can have an engagement party after.
John, when you look at this Georgia-Cincinnati game, got to give credit to Cincinnati to start off. They held Georgia to 1 for 11 on third down, John. 1 for 11. That's not good. That's terrible, actually. But Georgia came away with the win, 24-21. John, give me your breakdown of this game, Georgia-Cincinnati.
First of all, like you said, we already talked about Cincinnati, regarding, to me, the Cincinnati offensive line showed out in the first half of that football game. Desmond Ridder had all day to throw the football. They had pretty much all day to run the ball. And Desmond Ridder showed why he could be coming back next year, as the leader for Cincinnati in the top maybe 3 getting in the conference, if Desmond Ridder comes back. Their offensive line, like I said, to me, those of Cincinnati just had dumb penalties at the wrong time in the second half. For example, I forgot which half it was, but the Cincinnati offensive lineman, the play's already blown dead, for crying out loud, and you're going to do a targeting play on the sidelines right in front of the referee.
Yeah, that was
right in front of the referee, and I'm like, are you serious right now, dude? Yeah. I know you want to basically have a game with emotions and whatnot, but right in front of the referee and then right in front of, I think it was your team as well, and you want to do that, that's when Desmond Ridder came to him and said, hey, buddy, we don't need that type of stuff in this second half. But Georgia's running game and JT Daniels, Georgia's running game was okay, but I forgot the total yards on top of my head for the running game. But Georgia's running game played pretty well in the second half, and they mixed it up a little bit more. And I like how Kirby Smart threw the ball a little bit, like 10 yards downfield, 15 yards downfield, a little bit more in detail in the second half as well. And got to give credit to Dan Lanning, and Memphis' former assistant coach, now Georgia defensive coordinator, give him a lot of credit by putting a little bit more pressure on Desmond Ridder in that second half as well. And then, credit Georgia taking advantage of that 3rd and 2 dumbest play call there was in the whole book by throwing the football on 3rd and 2 with about a minute and so much time left. You don't give JT – I know JT Daniels is like a 4-year player or whatever, being a senior, but you don't give a senior quarterback that much time left with a 2-minute drive and marching down the field to kick the game-winning field goal against you. Yeah. You take a chance with 20 seconds to go in the game or whatever after that punt was going to happen, because darn well Georgia was out of timeouts, for crying out loud. I'm more disappointed in the play calls looking back at this game in the second half than I'm a Georgia fan, and a Memphis fan. But Georgia at times really did not deserve to win that ball game.
No, Georgia, they did not.
And then Georgia just basically out, like I said, in the second half, their offense finally woke up a little bit. Their running game was decent. And then they put more pressure on Desmond Ridder. I didn't really realize this, but Cincinnati's offensive line has been huge all year long. Basically, a 300-pound lineman up and down,
Cincinnati's got one of the best. I mean, besides Alabama, Cincinnati's got one of the best offensive lines in the country. And I think talking about Cincinnati's defense, John, not to cut you off, talking about Cincinnati's defense, they held Georgia to only 45 yards total rushing for the game.
That's why
if you would have told me before, do what?
That's why I said decent in the second half, because
they
really didn't do jack squat in the first half or the second half.
Let's see. White had 11 carries, 39 yards. McIntosh had 5 carries, 17. Milton had 4 carries, 10. If you would have told me, if you'd have told anybody before this game started that Georgia, that is what Kirby Smart is built around, is this running game. You'd have told me Georgia would have had 45 yards rushing, I'd probably try to give you a $100 bill, because I wouldn't have believed it. I think if you look at Cincinnati and you look at the American Athletic Conference moving into next year, you've got to be pretty excited to have the season that they had this year, and then also to show up the way they did against Georgia in a New Year's Six Bowl. You've got to give hats off to Luke Fickell, got to give hats off to Cincinnati, and I really hope Luke Fickell sticks around Cincinnati for a while. because as a Memphis fan, I've enjoyed going up against him every year. It's been a lot of fun. Aaron,
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
like I was gonna say real quick. Also
Sorry. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say real quick regarding the Georgia game. Georgia also missed one of their top running backs, and Delvin Cook's brother as well. You know, his dad passed away. You know, as well, and credit Georgia when the game mattered the most. Like I told you, you don't give JT Daniels a leader quarterback that much time left in the game. You should give him like less than a minute left in the game to see how he could do it.
Yeah, and also, you know, you also got to look at this too. You know, I talk about Cook and the passing of his father, and I'm sure y'all saw this, but the running back coach wore Cook's jersey on the field to honor him and everything.
Yeah, that was very classy. That was a very classy move.
That was awesome. But and going back to the whole football game, it's like John said, JT Daniels, all right, a name that everybody was just now hearing about, and didn't play the whole season. I'm sure Kirby Smart's probably kicking himself because to me, if JT Daniels in the ball game against Alabama, I think it would have been a lot closer of a game.
I think Georgia would have won.
Yeah, I mean Georgia probably be up there.
Crazy.
Well,
let's go crazy, go crazy.
But the thing about it is JT Daniels. I mean, he the one thing that just I didn't get was Ritter when they had the game. Okay, all you had to do was run out your play clock, run it down to 3 seconds. That's all you have to do. Yeah. And the announcer even said it. There was 10 seconds or 12 seconds or something like that left on the clock, on the play clock. Mm-hmm. And another team I remember hearing about made the same mistakes. If you give any quarterback or any offense that it can drive on you, if you give them 2 minutes, there is something called a 2-minute drill. They work on that in practice every day.
Exactly.
To be put in situations like that. And the thing about it, JT Daniels, and I didn't realize how big of an arm this man's got. When he threw the ball and he overshot, either he overshot it or he underthrew. I don't know, but he had a guy completely wide open. And when I saw the ball, I was like, "Oh, this is touchdown all the way." And then it looked like the receiver lost the ball or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't
credit
know what
to Cincinnati though.
JT Daniels, of course, as we know, he came from USC. I think if you're Kirby Smart, you're kicking yourself, like you said, Nathan, because JT Daniels, from the beginning of the season, of course, we know the guy from Wake Forest came in and then he opted out, so that changes your whole season. I understand that, but you put JT Daniels in and you let him play from the beginning of the year, and that guy is a real threat. He's got a cannon of an arm. It's obvious that he can run Georgia's offense pretty well, I think. John, do you think that JT Daniels is the future of Georgia?
Well, how many more years has he got left, first of all?
Well, this is a free year, so it doesn't count. I think he's got 2.
Okay. He probably is. It probably is because he's been, in the college game a lot more longer than the other quarterbacks on Georgia's roster. But, talk about JT Daniels. Maybe he was nervous to play with that injury that he had last year on the first game last year against Fresno State.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't 100% yet. Or maybe he was just nervous to go out there and say, hey, I want to take a chance early on in the season and then go from there. Maybe he wasn't 100%. We don't really know the whole story behind it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that's true. We don't.
Well, here's my question, John. Do you think JT Daniels is a better quarterback than Jake Fromm?
Oh Lord, put me on the spot. But
he did put you on the spot with that one, John.
Hang on, is Jake Fromm on the NFL roster still?
yeah. No, he's still on the roster for the Bills.
Yeah, he's still on the Bills.
At this time, I'm gonna go with Jake Fromm, just because he's been a leader on that Georgia team a little bit longer. I mean, plus he's had more games in the SEC than JT Daniels, so I'm gonna give the edge just to Jake Fromm because of the experience.
Well, look, I'll say this: as an Alabama fan, when you face Georgia with Jake Fromm, just like when we faced off and we brought Jalen in, and the time we swapped and brought Tua in, those 2 games. Credit to Jake Fromm, and I'm glad he's in the NFL. I hope he gets his chance to do his thing. But as a college football quarterback, he was a threat, buddy. I mean,
no doubt.
He was a field general. I mean, he controlled the whole offense.
No, Jake Fromm was better than that quarterback that went to Washington.
Oh, you talking about Jacob Eason?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, speaking of Alabama, let's get into their game. The 2 semifinal games happened last night. First off, we had Alabama, number 1 in the country, deservedly so, taking on number 4 Notre Dame.
Watch it, John. John, I just said something nice about Georgia. I said something nice about Georgia. Don't you start, John.
Covered, damn it.
Looking at Alabama last night, John, we were texting early on. It didn't take long to say Alabama in a rout. I really want to talk about Notre Dame and how well they did, but they didn't. You can't give up the big play to Alabama. They gave up a buttload. You can't give them the ball. You can't turn the ball over against Alabama. They did that as well. Looking at Alabama, Mac Jones is dang near perfect. Devontae Smith, really, I saw a whole nother side of Devontae Smith last night watching him. Not only is he talented enough to get open, make plays with his feet, make amazing catches, but he also gets other players open at the same time because of him drawing double teams and things like that. I think if you look at Devontae Smith, I may have just called him Devontae Jones. I apologize. Devontae Smith.
Devontae Jones for the goal.
What is the running back's name? But my mind's gone blank.
Harris.
Najee Harris.
Najee. I could remember his first name. If you look at this, it's just those 3. And there's more weapons on this Alabama team, as we all know.
Yep.
But I will say this. What told me that game was going to be over with was the first hit. That first hit on that kickoff was an absolute smack.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolute, as we called it back in the day, a snot bubble. Because when you get hit, snot just shoots out your nose. There's nothing you can do about it. It just happens.
Well,
I'm serious. Anybody that's played football has had a snot bubble. I promise you.
Well, yeah, but look, the thing about it, and to talk about this game, going into this game, it was talked of Notre Dame. What you forget is there's more people than just Devontae on that team.
Yeah.
You have Najee Harris. You have Mechie. You have Billingsley. We have more threats. So if you want to cover Devontae Smith, Najee, we'll find a way to do it. And the thing about it is going into this game was that was the whole talk about Devontae. But what a lot of people know about this is Mac Jones was always talked about. He's talked about Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith has told him, "You just throw it up. I'll catch it. If I don't catch it, I'll bat it down. You just throw it up there." So that's how much trust Mac Jones has in Devontae Smith when he throws that ball, dude. And don't get me wrong, he's one hell of a quarterback. And I'm glad he's finally getting a shot this year. And he's proved to everyone that it don't matter if you got to sit the bench and you finally get your shot, and he took his chance and, look at him now. So, but back to the whole game, and going back to the game, I mean, Notre Dame came in there with the game plan, stop Devontae Smith. Okay, you messed up there because we got other weapons. I mean, we even got, and I'm going to say this, we have a wide receiver, Mechie, that can also play defense if he wanted to after that hit he put on that Florida player.
Yeah.
So,
and, I mean, I'm not trying to sound negative, but how many times did they say last night that Alabama had when the Alabama that has two starting cornerbacks on their kickoff coverage? Like, did they say that every kickoff, or am I crazy? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Devontae
great.
Smith is on punt.
Yeah. It's crazy. But when you look at Alabama, and we'll talk about Steve Sarkisian a little more coming up here shortly. First off, real quick, I just want to take a small break real quick and say thank you to everybody watching on Facebook. Thank you for everybody watching on our YouTube page. Also, thank you for everybody listening on iHeartRadio. We got Nathan Wilson with us tonight, breaking down everything college football with the playoff and everything like that going on. 4-Star Sports Show. But Nathan, speaking of Steve Sarkisian, and we'll get a little more into him and his travel plans as it is.
Oh yeah, Kansas
I'm
travel
really
plans.
impressed with just what he does. What he's done with this offense, looking good.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at last year with Tua Tagovailoa, and then you look at this year with Mac Jones, a different style quarterback. Mac Jones is more of a pocket, has more of a pocket presence, more of a pocket passer, more style. But Steve Sarkisian is a offensive genius. I mean, it was really. I don't think it showed until this season.
Well, you got to look back as also when Nick Saban when he ended up catching COVID twice, but the second time he caught it, he wasn't able to be there. So that shows you a lot that Nick Saban gave the opportunity to Steve Sarkisian to coach Alabama for him for that one game, and that showed right there that Steve can be a head coach, and he's an amazing offensive coordinator. I hate to see that he's leaving, but I know that Texas couldn't pick the better person. I mean, he's a great guy. He knows his college football. He knows the plays he wants to run. And, he's done a lot with this offense. When Tua was there, we threw the ball a lot. And I'm glad about Steve Sarkisian because Steve kind of brought the running game back when Mac Jones took over under center because Najee Harris was getting the ball more and having these awesome runs like the one against Notre Dame where he literally leaped over that cornerback and just kept running. I think he ran about 15 more yards or something like that before getting tackled. But Steve Sarkisian, I wish him the best luck at Texas, and I think I told John this earlier when we were talking about it. He was actually supposed to go to an interview for the Auburn head coaching job, and Steve canceled it. So showing that he canceled it has me kind of thinking that maybe Texas has been talking to him for a while. But
also Auburn wasn't appealing to a lot of coaches. Like Auburn even approached the UAB coach, and he told them no, and then Hugh Freeze said no, and then it's like, so maybe yes, you're right, Nathan. Like Texas may have been talking to him, but maybe Auburn just didn't seem appealing to him because also when you're a coach like that, and this is your career and this is what you do, you kind of start understanding what situations you'll be successful in and stuff. And maybe he saw that, but it's like the UAB coach. Maybe he's like, I could be more successful here at UAB than ever going to Auburn. And then maybe Steve said the same thing, like, oh, Texas, I have a better chance at Texas and the Big 12, and maybe I can recruit out of that state, hopefully bring strong recruits back and then and be more successful. So the point of what I'm saying is he understood where he would be more successful, and also Auburn's not that appealing job right now. And mainly, and I was talking to my buddy Raymond about it too, it's mainly because of the fans. I'm just going to be honest right now. Like the fact that the fans were hitting up Hugh Freeze, like that doesn't look good. They don't want to mess with that. He's already what's $1 million here and there. Like he's already getting what $4 million over at Liberty. He's like, I don't want to make $7 million and be treated like crap. You know what I mean?
Well, I can say this, Aaron. Talking about Hugh Freeze and Steve Sarkisian leaving, and if by any miracle chance, Hugh Freeze is watching this, we'll take you to Alabama. Come to Alabama. I mean, we would love.
If Hugh
to
Freeze
have
is
you.
watching this, I want to know, Dick.
But I want to say this though.
Hurry up and get to his house.
Yeah, I gotta hurry up because I don't want Steve to leave this team yet. We got a good thing rolling. But if anybody, Alabama, they always talk about it. Alabama assistants, Nick Saban assistants, always leave and go make a name for themselves somewhere else and all this. And here's my thing, and maybe a lot of Alabama fans will agree with me. I know a lot that I know agree with me on this. Why take our offensive coordinator? Can't y'all just take our defensive coordinator? Because we kind of don't really need him right now. So, I mean, but going back to the game, though, and talking about it, offense looked good. Defense, we still got a lot of holes and a little bit of a struggle we got to fix up. We played good. It's like Nick Saban used to always say, they did all right. It wasn't to my liking. There was, improvements that needed to be made. I mean, Malachi Moore didn't play in the game, and Christian Harris played in and out a little bit because I think he was a little bit sore from his injury he had. So I think Saban just pulled him to get him ready for the big game, the Natty game against Ohio State. But our offense. If I have to say, offense looked really good this year. I mean, I'm going back when Lane Kiffin was there and all them. Steve Sarkisian made our offense look really good. The plays that he comes up with and the plays that he calls and, Nick Saban has him call and all this, I mean, you see it all over. When you're watching the games, you see like, okay, well, they're going to go double coverage Devontae Smith. Okay, well, watch this. I'm going to have a play where I'm going to get someone open, Mechie open or Beasley open or, anybody. Heck, I'll dump it off to Najee Harris and have him do it. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But I think that Steve Sarkisian
helped hurdle people.
Right, and I think Steve Sarkisian actually molded Mac Jones a lot this year and brought the talent that Mac Jones has and just showed everybody that, I mean, he's got talent, dude. And there's a reason Alabama has recruited him and got him. And there's a reason, he sat on the bench behind Jalen Hurts, behind Tua Tagovailoa. He was waiting for his opportunity, waiting for his chance, and he got it this year. He proved it. I mean, and now look, he's a Heisman candidate. So that just goes to show you, I mean, Steve Sarkisian had a lot to do with it, with, molding him into the quarterback that he is.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, I think when you look at Steve Sarkisian is a smart man. Think about it. Would you leave Alabama as their offensive coordinator and go to the dark side, go to Auburn to have to turn around and face Saban next year? No. Why would you do that? Now, don't get me wrong. The fight song for Texas starts with "The eyes of Texas are upon you," and that is damn true because that whole state is watching that school. They're watching how they recruit. If you think back a couple years ago during recruitment, I specifically remember Tom Herman flipping off a camera during the recruitment special on ESPN.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he did.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did.
Trust me, he did. So, my thing is, if you can't take the pressure, don't get in the kitchen. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think if you look at Steve Sarkisian, he's been under Nick Saban for a couple of years now. Plus, he, as we've all alluded to, he's got that head coaching experience from USC. And let's be honest, I think he did a really good job at USC. He got into some off-the-field issues, which I think he was also at
he was also
Washington
at
as well.
Washington, too.
Yeah, and he did a great job there as well. I think he's a good hire for Texas. I think he is a great hire for Texas, actually. The question is, and I think I had the same question about the Pittman hire. Who does he bring in as his assistants around him? That's going to be the key to see how successful Steve Sarkisian is moving forward. I think it's smart because I think he can keep some of these same kids that Herman had coming in. I think Steve Sarkisian can go sit down in those kids' living rooms and keep them at Texas. Everybody talks about the whole Texas way, the Texas lifestyle or whatever. I think Sark will do a good job there. But back to the game, I think Alabama better get ready because the holes that they have in their defense, watching Ohio State, they're going to exploit those holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the Ohio State game, a few years back, Ohio State beat Alabama under Nick Saban. Nick Saban was at the University of Alabama when Ohio State beat us. And so you come into this game and you're thinking, okay, Ohio State's going to pull this off, or Alabama's going to pull this off, or whatever. Here's and it's like I told you, Wes, when you asked me about the Notre Dame Alabama game, I never told you who was going to win. Because as a fan, I don't want to put that what I like to call a jinx on the team and say, this is what's going to happen. But I will say this about this game, this championship game. It is going to be, and I believe this is a quote from the good old JR, it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be
it's going to be a slobber knocker.
It's going to be a fight. It's going to be running the ball. It's going to be a football game. It's going to be physical. There's going to be hitting on both sides. And
it's going to be Madden in arcade mode.
Yeah. It
He's been waiting the whole show to say that. That's so funny.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think the spread right now is 7 in favor of Alabama. I think it's what it is right now. And it could change in all this. But my thing is this game is going to be something that everybody's going to tune in. Everybody's going to watch it. It's in Miami. So this game, it's going to – I can't wait. I'm excited about it. Just sitting here talking about it, I'm excited about it. But to also put in this, you talked about – Wes, you're talking about Steve Sarkisian going to Texas, and who would he take along with him? If Steve Sarkisian – I hate to say this, but if Steve Sarkisian – was as smart as he is, I think for his defensive coordinator, he's going to take Charlie Strong with him.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think
no.
Yeah, I think if
he already did
Charlie
Strong.
I think if he takes Charlie Strong, the Texas fans will pull a UT fans when they hired Greg Schiano and they revolted. I'm telling you. Charlie Strong steps back on that campus as a ED coach. It doesn't matter if he's a bricklaying coach. It doesn't matter. They're going to revolt. Charlie Strong will not be back on that campus. I think Charlie Strong is a good defensive coordinator, but I don't think he'll come out of Texas.
But here's the thing. Then they can do this. We'll give him Pete Golding. We'll let Pete Golding, our defensive coordinator, go with him, and we'll take Charlie Strong.
Hey, I was thinking about this. As an offensive coordinator, what about Gus Malzahn? Do you think you could grab him?
Yeah.
That'd be a good choice right there too.
I hear that Chad Morris is available.
What?
No.
Just saying.
No.
For Texas fans' sakes, God no.
Just saying. He can recruit the state of Texas.
Wait. Y'all forget about one person. There is one coach that's available, Jim Harbaugh. He's
still available?
Right now too. Yeah.
Harbaugh's available.
Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, he's available.
No, he's not.
Michigan's going to let him go. Michigan Michigan is going to let him go, dude.
When?
Hey, I
Tomorrow?
thought you had some breaking news I didn't know about. I'm like, what? When did they fire
No,
him?
Michigan.
I figured
I'm
my
telling you
phone
right
would have
now.
lit up with that information.
No, Michigan. I have that feeling Michigan is trying to figure out a way to let him go.
So I was actually reading an article earlier. This is about coaches moving
Mr.
around.
Michigan.
But Urban Meyer may be the next Jacksonville coach. Did one of y'all say that? Like before we were talking?
Yeah, I
like,
did like
maybe,
last week, but yeah.
Yeah.
I said him or Dabo, I think I did.
Well, speaking of Ohio State, Clemson.
Well, can I
It was
say
a
something
great
about the
game.
Alabama game?
Oh, go ahead.
First off, I just want to say the TSAA should be ashamed of itself by having a personal foul rule on a leaping as well in the TSAA. That's a flag in high school football. I want
Really?
to say that first of all.
Yeah.
But I also
What?
want to say, like,
It's a
y'all said,
flag to jump over somebody?
leapfrog, yeah, like Johnny Harris did yesterday, yeah. Can't do it because it's the safety of the defensive player because of the helmet falling off. Possibly.
Oh, stop it, John. Oh, stop it.
Dead
That
serious.
play
Well,
was sick.
look.
That
I will
play
say
was
this though.
sick.
I will say
only
this.
did
At least, yeah, but at least Najee Harris cleared the guy. The guy from Ohio State couldn't even clear him. He got hit right in
but
midair.
Najee Harris cleared him and just kind of put his hand under his leg and
is
just
that
kind
a
of
Thunder
pulled him
jersey?
out of the way just because he could, you know?
But yeah,
He jumped him like a backyard fence, is what he did.
But yes,
He jumped him like a backyard fence.
In Tennessee, it is a flag in high school football.
That's
Anyways,
stupid.
But this is college football, John.
I know, but
That
still,
was
in high school football, players do it too. They should never call that a penalty.
That is the stupidest rule I've ever heard of in my life. But go ahead, John.
But yeah, y'all talk about the defense. I thought the defense, has done pretty well all year long until the SEC championship, especially with all these linebackers that have basically been either injured in the preseason or injured in the regular season. The linebackers for Alabama also have been struggling all year they have been struggling at times, but I thought their defense has played okay all year long, especially the way.
Well, I take nothing away from Alabama's defense. I think they've got a damn good defense.
But Nathan, the reason I'm bringing up hang on a second, Wes. The reason I'm bringing up Nathan didn't their defense lose Joshua McMillan this year in the preseason, then they lost another linebacker, in this preseason as well.
They lost. All right, so Dylan Moses and Christian Harris was one guy that we lost last season.
Okay.
Due to injury, and he came back.
Right.
And Dylan Moses, he stayed. We had a few injuries coming in,
Right, Joshua. So I'm bringing Joshua from Memphis area, bringing him up as well. Yeah, because he got hurt in the preseason.
Right, and the thing about it is, I'm not taking anything away from Alabama's defense. We have a defense, all right. It's just when you face Florida, we had to worry about Kyle Pitts and what's the other guy? Number one, is it Tooney?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Saban said, you can't double coverage two guys when they're both on the field at the same time. That opens up too much. And then when you put, for instance, in the Notre Dame game, when we put Dylan Moses on a running back, he's going to get called for the pass interference. We all know that. And he got away with it with one call, and I know that much, and I'm glad they didn't call it. But when you have to put Dylan Moses on a running back and a running back that has speed, everybody knows this. If you're running back, if you're a quarterback and you see that your running back that is on, and they got a linebacker one-on-one with him, where are you going to go with that ball? You're going to go right to your running back because you know that he'll beat that linebacker every time. So, but, I think that we did good. And look, I want to do this right quick. Props up to the center that we had.
I'm about to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Landon Dickerson was out, and he's out for the season and everything. And Avery came in and took over and did great. and I was really impressed. I was nervous coming in, and Notre Dame even had a second string center too. So, but I was really impressed by Avery. He came in, took over the role, did a great job. So I got to give props to him too.
That's what I was about to bring up. I was very much impressed with the center play and the offensive line play for Alabama in that game.
Yeah, and another thing to bring up, see, one of our DBs, one of our top DBs, Malachi Moore, he didn't get to play because of it, or coach didn't play because of injury. But Malachi Moore is one hell of a D-back, along with Patrick Surtain, Battle, all them guys. And we got a young squad coming in. We got I seen our recruitment and all the players we recruited, all of our commitments. And I'm going to tell you, Alabama's stacked up, ready to go for another. Our offensive line is going to be stacked up again. And also our DBs, they're looking good as well. And I believe we had a couple of people decommit from LSU, I think some receivers, and decided to come over to Alabama. So that's going to be a big thing for us, considering that Devontae Smith. And I don't know if Jalen Waddle's going to leave, if he'll go draft, or if he'll come back. He hasn't said. But I could say this much: don't be shocked if Jalen Waddle ain't playing in the football game against Ohio State.
Breaking news here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Speaking of Ohio State, they had what I think was the most impressive performance to date so far in the playoffs this season. They absolutely, in my opinion, I think they decimated Clemson last night. Like I said earlier when we talked about it, it's not necessarily that they won, but it's how they won. I don't have the specific stats in front of me, but when you look at Justin Fields, he was a man possessed last night playing quarterback for Ohio State. He made every throw. He ran for the extra yard when he had to. I love that little running back they've got. What's his name? Trey Sermon, a kid out of Oklahoma, transferred over from Oklahoma. Yeah, kid is a stud, man. I'm telling you, I woke up yesterday morning with a gut feeling that Ohio State would pull off the shocker against Clemson. I called it yesterday. It happened. I still feel like Ohio State can beat Alabama on Monday the 11th. I just feel it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give my 2 cents of it. I just think also, like I talked about yesterday with everybody, I'm just like I was concerned going into that game after they said Clemson's offensive coordinator wasn't coaching that game due to COVID,
Oh, yeah.
Like we talked about all season long, COVID this, COVID that. But Trevor Lawrence kind of looked like he was lost a little bit on the offense at times, with the play calls. But like y'all said, I don't give tons of credit to Ohio State and Coach Day. They came out and popped Clemson in the mouth. And I'm very much still impressed with the offensive line in Ohio State the last 2 ball games. 300-plus rushing yards against the Northwestern defense. And then yesterday, Clemson, I know they lost their top linebacker due to that targeting call, but credit Ohio State's offensive line by giving Justin Fields pretty much all day to throw the football as well. Because looking at some of the stats, Justin Fields from 10 to 15 yards or even longer throwing the ball downfield, it was dropping them on a dime as well. You talk about
yes, he was.
Jones, quarterback from Alabama, but Justin Fields showed if he's not coming out this year, he'll definitely be in the top 2 next year in the NFL draft. But I think Justin Fields, the way he became a man in that game as well, especially getting hit on that targeting call and being against that linebacker, Justin Fields just became a leader and impressed me. Like I told y'all this, last week or 2 weeks ago, that I thought Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback, was probably going to be the second quarterback taken. No, I think if Justin Fields does come out this year, Justin Fields will definitely be the number 2 quarterback taken now. And he showed it against Clemson yesterday on that football field.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Can I go? Are you?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
So this game was incredible. So I felt like Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence were similar, and I'll say this, not this game, but as quarterback. So Ohio State and Clemson played against each other last year too, right? In the semifinal.
Right.
Remember when Trevor Lawrence got hit in the head, and all of a sudden he just went lights out, just ran that 60 yards, and then all of a sudden Justin Fields gets shot in the ribs, and I'm like, oh, he's out for the rest of the day. And then all of a sudden,
he was done for the game.
Lights out, boom, done. But I just knew. I knew after that game last year, Justin Fields wasn't going to allow it again. Now I was overshadowed by 2020. 2020 overshadowed me. When I was thinking about this, it's like, oh, they only played 6 games. They're not ready for this, that, and the other. We all played that game. But Justin Fields was a big boy and showed up. But here's also another statistic that I wish I knew before this game. Clemson has never won a bowl game in the state of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
They're 0-5. In 1959, they lost to LSU in the Sugar Bowl. In 1985, they lost to Minnesota in the Independence Bowl. In 2018, they lost to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. In 2020, they lost to LSU in the national championship.
Yep.
In 2021, they lost the Sugar Bowl to Ohio State.
Wow.
So there's something against Clemson playing in the state of Louisiana.
All right, Lee Corso over there. Let's go.
I know, right? Pulling out some great statistics. Now, I will say this. We are going over the game, but I do not want to break down the national championship game yet. I want to save that for next weekend and really just dive into it as a game, sole game. Definitely want to get Nathan back on as well next weekend to break that down.
We'll get Posey on for Alabama fan as well.
But I do want to talk about the Heisman Trophy coming up Tuesday night.
Hey, that is Tuesday.
Wait, hey, Wes, can I say something real quick? I just want to say something real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since John's over there making some comments about Bama and everything, I just want to say this. As a Georgia fan, how bad are y'all kicking yourselves to see Justin Fields and how he's doing?
To be honest with you, I really thought he wouldn't be. I mean, I think he's in a better fit under Coach Day's offense rather than Kirby Smart's offense.
I completely agree.
That makes sense.
Great. Yeah, no,
I mean,
that makes perfect sense. I think he would have been. I think
Kirby
Smart would have done great with him.
I mean, I thought it would have been great too, but the thing is, I don't want to talk about his past at Georgia that much because of what happened regarding the Georgia baseball team back,
Mm-hmm.
But that ruined Justin Fields completely also when that thing came out regarding the Georgia baseball team, regarding doing this and that. Because I think Justin Fields was going to be a 2-sport athlete at Georgia by playing baseball and football. So
James Winston was a 2-sport athlete too at Florida State.
Yeah, he played baseball at Florida State, then also played football as well.
But I guarantee you, I think if the Georgia baseball team did not pretty much have that issue regarding whatever happened, back in the day, but I think Justin Fields would have basically probably stayed at Georgia under Kirby Smart, and I think Kirby Smart would have basically gave him a chance and and whatnot as well. But I think Coach Day's offense was a better fit overall than Coach Smart.
Now, I do want to say this too, and this is we were about to talk about the Heisman, and I don't know if anybody called it. Mac Jones during the post-game press conference that he had, they were trying to get Mac Jones to say something about, they made a comment or they were asking him questions about, his performance and everything. And they were like, do you have your speech already written out for your Heisman candidacy? And I like how Mac Jones handled it. First off, he took a line out of Nick Saban. He said, man, that's rat poison. This was a team effort. We did this as a team. And that just shows you the kind of player he is. He's not as good. I mean, unless it's his offense, it's his wide receivers, it's his linemen. He gives credit to all them guys because to be honest, if he didn't have that line blocking for him, if he doesn't have the receivers, you're nothing without your team. So credit to him for not falling into that little rat poison question and answering it and giving props up to his team.
Also, if Devontae Smith wins, I think Mac Jones should be runner-up, period, because he's throwing the ball to Devontae Smith.
Absolutely,
it's like Devontae Smith does not win any Heisman without Mac Jones.
Heisman right there.
Yep, same here.
yeah. I mean, you literally stole what I was going to say for the Heisman. Devontae Smith, I think, is more than deserving, and I completely agree. If you are the Heisman, ranking committee, whatever you vote, whatever it is, you got to put Mac Jones number 2. And I think after Mac Jones, I think you've got to look really hard at putting Najee Harris at number 3.
Exactly.
I don't know that they will, but
is he even a finalist though?
No, they didn't even. All right, so
is he not a finalist?
No, I don't think he's a finalist. I think the finalists are Kyle Trask, Trevor Lawrence, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones. If he is a finalist, he's number 5.
Yeah.
But I think that
then it'll be Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Lawrence, Trask.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree. I think everybody's going to agree with this. The Heisman winner that everybody's picking is Devontae.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's earned it.
Yeah, I think Devontae Smith is the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm glad to see a non-quarterback, non-running back position win that award. I honestly was getting quarterbacks winning it every year. Not that they weren't deserving, not taking anything away from them, but they have a quarterback award. I believe it's the Davey O'Brien Award.
Davey O'Brien, yeah. Well, here's my question. Who was the last wide receiver to ever win it?
Hey, I'll look it up.
Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard in 91.
Desmond Howard.
Larry Fitzgerald. Okay.
No, Fitzgerald didn't win it.
I'm being sarcastic.
He was just on the cover of the video game.
I'm being sarcastic.
But when you look at this bowl season, guys, it's Desmond Howard. I know who it is. You don't have to Google it.
Tim Brown. Huh. He won it too.
But he played for Notre Dame. But when you look at this bowl season, it's been absolutely amazing. It's been a lot of fun to cover. It's been a lot of fun to watch these bowl games. There was a lot canceled, and I absolutely hated that.
Well, can I say something about? I didn't. Sure. Did y'all know that Kirby Smart's vote would be for Mr. Harris, or not Mr. Harris, but Mr. Smith as well? Did y'all hear about that?
Yeah,
I did not know. That.
Because Kirby, I forgot he actually committed to Georgia, and then he ended up decommitting and going to Alabama.
Yep.
Really? Did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look at this bowl season, it's been very wild. Like I said, there's a lot of games canceled. You had a team like Army who wasn't even going to play in a bowl, and all of a sudden they're playing against West Virginia, and it was a great bowl game, Michael Posey. But when you look at this bowl game, you look at the semifinals that happened last night as we look forward to the national championship on the 11th. I guess what I have to say is thank you, 2020, for being crazy as hell. Absolutely crazy. We didn't know what was happening hour by hour some days. But I want to say a special thank you to all the coaches, all the players around the country for sacrificing for us as fans and giving us a chance to escape reality and to watch a sport that we love to watch, that we're just rabid fans of. But thank you from us as sports fans to the coaches, to the players, for giving us a chance to watch this year.
Can I say something about Tom Herman real quick, or unless I missed something regarding Tom Herman?
Go ahead.
Or did you already talk about it?
What's the talk about? Talk about it.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet, have we?
We have, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna step away for a second, but I want to give Tom, like we talked about West on the way or on my way home or whatever it is tonight. But Tom Herman, basically to me, did not deserve to be fired today at all. I think. Well, you said it because you thought he would be fired, in the middle of the year, toward the end of the year. But me personally, I don't like firing a guy, then hiring a guy on the same day. For example, I think if Texas president, athletic director, whoever, they probably did make up their mind, like 2 weeks ago, and probably interviewed Sark behind closed doors for all we know.
Yeah.
But you give Tom Herman a contract extension, last year, for example, and now is a $15 million buyout. And now you got to pay $39 million combined, like you said, Wes, in the text message to me, between his two assistant and his assistant coaches as well. So $24 million for his assistant coaches, now $15 million for Tom Herman as well. And then he had a winning record at Texas. What does Texas want to win? 9 games every year when they got to play like Oklahoma.
Yes.
And Oklahoma
They
State.
do.
I know, but thing is, you're still going to be to me. Texas is still a top 4 team in the Big 12, regardless. You're still in there with Oklahoma year in, year out. You played 4 overtimes with Oklahoma this year. I know this is not the same Oklahoma that went like 11-0 or 11-1, but you went 4 overtimes with the Cotton Bowl winner. You lost to TCU, which is kind of like a bad loss in a way, but you never know with the TCU Texas games with Gary Patterson at the head coach. And then you lose to Iowa State, which we really didn't bring that game up against Oregon unless y'all did. But Iowa State with Matt Campbell, as long as Matt Campbell is going to be a head coach at Iowa State's going to be in the mix in the top 4, top 5 as well every year and competing for the Big 12 championship year in, year out. And then, to me, Tom Herman did a great job at Texas. What he did, 37-29 in 4 years or whatever it was. And then
I think he was like 38-18 over 4 seasons.
Yeah. And then, like you said, though, 4-0, 4-0 in bowl season, like you told me.
Yeah.
You won the Alamo Bowl twice. You beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl when Sam Ellinger said, "Oh, we're back" or whatever. But you go 4-0 in a bowl season, for crying out loud. I guess Texas fans, I don't know. I had to ask my cousins or my cousin AJ. He's a diehard Texas fan. I got to figure out what's me personally. I'm not bashing the hire of Sark, but you fired a guy and then hire a guy the same day. That's just bad blood between Texas now and Tom Herman. Tom Herman does not deserve to be fired at all today, in my opinion. I think you should have, especially with it being a COVID year, I think you should have waited until next season to do it and see what could happen.
I don't think they should have fired anyone this year.
No.
Like any of them, even Vanderbilt's coach, like any of them. Because this year was just a weird year. Like, heck, if it doesn't even count for your seniors, why should it count for you as a coach? It's like, I just don't get it.
Now, the real question is, Sam Ellinger declared for the NFL draft yesterday, right after that game got over. Is he going to come back now under Sark and say, hey, okay, and see what happens?
No.
Or did he just have that good relationship with Tom Herman and say, okay, I'm going pro now?
No, I think he's just decided he's going to go pro. But my thing is, and to also say this, I talked to John earlier today about this, the Herman fire and hiring Sark, and this is why I told him, I think the reason that they did it, and I think it's wrong that they did it this way, but the reason that they got rid of Herman is because they're tired of Oklahoma being on top in the Big 12. They want somebody that they feel can have some chance to beat them, and they just didn't feel like that Herman was the way, and that's wrong because of like y'all said, how this season, this COVID 2020 season's been, But you look at it this way: Gus Malzahn, that man, he made a comment. He walked out $21 million. And he said, I'm eating at the Waffle House and laughing my butt off. Y'all can't hire a coach to replace me. And,
that kind of money.
but and I'm sitting here with $21 million,
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
appreciate that. But going back to it, and also I want to mention this. Y'all talked about Campbell, Iowa State head coach. There's talk. I was watching the Oregon Iowa State game. There is talk that the NFL is looking at him as well.
I'll
Yeah,
see him
yeah, most
leaving
definitely.
anytime
And I
soon.
mean, here's the thing. I think that the Texas faithful and their fan base was just tired of mediocrity. And that's what Tom Herman was at Texas. When we really boil it down and really look at it at its core, he was mediocre at Texas. You gave Charlie Strong, 5 years?
5 or 6, wasn't it?
5 or 6. I mean, you give Tom Herman 4. He's 38-18. He wins 4 consecutive bowl games. Vince Young ain't walking back through that front door. Mac, the North Carolina coach, Mac Brown is not walking back through that door. I know they hate that. I know they hate hearing that. But I think if you bring a guy in like Steve Sarkisian, and I think Texas is very similar to Auburn, I think you don't make a move like this unless you know who you're going to hire. Now, with Auburn, I don't think they really knew, but I think with Texas, I think they knew. I think they knew,
look,
let's go ahead and make this move and go get Starkey. Go ahead.
I think this, and I'm going to go back to what I said before. There is a reason, I think another reason that Steve Sarkisian turned down the Auburn job was because Texas was already offering him up. I think Texas already was working out something for him because, I mean, the man didn't even try to go hear what they had to say. He said, no, I'm good. He canceled the whole interview and everything. And real quick, though, I just want to bring this up. Who's winning the North Carolina Texas A&M game right now? Because
A&M's up 17-13.
So I mean, there's right there another good game going on right now. So
I thought North Carolina would get killed the way all those players optioned out too.
Well, I mean, look at Florida. They had I think Florida had 6 players opt out, and that's another thing that killed a lot of these teams because you can just opt out and all this. But here's what I just want to say about the whole opting out. I don't really like it that much. I don't like that they could just opt out and leave their team hanging like that. Look
at Georgia for example. The first half.
If you're doing it for a personal, like family-related reason, something like that, I get it. If you're just a hot shot and you're pissed off because you're not going to be the number 1 starter and you leave, no, I don't get it. But what's the difference in a player doing it and a coach doing it?
Amen, bro.
Because in today's day and age, a player is not going to play for a university. And I know that's hard to hear, but in today's day and age, they're not going to Alabama to play at Alabama. They're going to play for Nick Saban. They're not going to play at Ohio State. They're going to play for Ryan Day or Urban Meyer or whoever it may be. But with that being said, it's the opt-out thing is very tough.
But another thing, I mean, who's to say? Like, I know you're trying to get your draft stock up. You want to be looked at.
Yeah.
You want your draft stock up. What's not to say? Look at Justin Fields, for example. Not that great of a game in the game against Northwestern. Comes into the playoff game, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, who's to say like Kyle Pitts? If Kyle Pitts and all those guys that opt out of Florida
through the roof
team,
right now,
yeah, they would have been that Oklahoma game. And I'm going to say this: that Oklahoma game wouldn't have been the way it would have looked at if those players didn't opt out.
Oh yeah,
that's going fair.
I agree, John. It's been
another
good
week,
week,
NFL
man.
pick for tomorrow.
Oh wait, I got an NFL pick.
I think the Cowboys are not going to win.
Hang on a second. I have Aaron read off the games to us. Come on, Aaron.
All
right.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Because this is serious playoff talk for a lot of teams that might not make the playoffs.
It is.
Coming up. Go Titans, baby. Go Titans.
So we'll start off with Dolphins versus Bills.
Dolphins.
Wow, Wes, you going to Dolphins without Fitzpatrick, huh?
Ravens, Bengals.
Hang on a second. We're going to do.
Oh, okay. So we'll go. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but just Dolphins over the Bills without good old Fitzpatrick Beard at quarterback because of COVID. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills because I like Josh Allen. He's the most improved player this year altogether.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Wes. I'm gonna pick upset. I'm gonna go Dolphins on this one.
Okay. We got Aaron.
I got Dolphins. On this one.
I'm going Buffalo. Defense, baby.
All right, up next.
Okay. Next, Ravens, Bengals.
Ravens. That's so Ravens.
Steelers, Browns.
What is it?
Steelers, Browns.
Ooh.
That one's going to be a good one.
Oh, man.
Wait a minute. You know what? Give me the Browns in this one. Give me the Browns.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. Give me the Browns in that one.
I'm feeling the Browns.
Yeah, I feel like the Steelers are Ben Roethlisberger has nothing to lose. They've already made the playoffs. They've already struggled the last 3 ball games running the football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the Browns really need to win this to make the playoffs now because after losing to the daggum Jets last week for crying out loud, that lost me some money. But
why you don't bet on the Jets, John?
Hey, the Browns are just a better team altogether than the freaking Jets. But I definitely like, Mason Rudolph is starting at quarterback for the Steelers. But I definitely, like y'all said, the Browns, the running game, and Baker Mayfield and good old Myles Garrett on defense. Yeah. Let's go here. Let's go Browns. Browns are favored by 10.5.
Hopefully there's not.
I think the Browns have one of the most – they have one of the best duos at running back at anybody in the National Football League.
I'm anxious to see this Myles Garrett versus Mason Rudolph round 2.
No, look, wait.
I forgot about that. It is round 2.
Rudolph got on there and said he has not heard from Myles Garrett and that they need to talk it out because Myles Garrett hasn't said that to him. I told somebody in Dallas just the other day, I said, look, the only reason he ain't spoke yet is because he's got something for Rudolph in this football game.
Yeah, he ain't got to talk to him on the phone. They'll have a conversation on the field. Exactly. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right, so Vikings, Lions.
Give me the Lions.
Yeah. You know what? No. Give me the Vikings. Give me the Vikings on this.
Wes, I don't know what's worse than your UTEP pick that you picked early in the season or this one. But hey, if Detroit wins this, praise Matthew Stafford and let him be the mayor of Detroit.
Is my backup, or I think I'm going to start him on my fantasy football. So I got the Minnesota Vikings on this game.
In memory of Devin Cook's dad, I'm going to Vikings.
Yeah. All right, then Jets, Patriots.
Jets.
No, that's actually a good get. Like,
what's the spread? What's the spread on this game?
The Patriots are
New England is a 3-point favorite.
It's terrible. It can't be horrible.
New England's a 3-point favorite.
The Jets. Give me the Jets all day. Give me the Jets.
Wes, do you have an insight on this Jets team that we?
My inside scoop is that New England is terrible with Cam Newton at quarterback. Give me the Jets. Jets. Jets.
Wait,
you know what?
Wait a minute, Wes. Are you trying to tell us that we need to place our money on Jets right now?
Hey, if y'all put money on it and it hits, great. If it don't hit, sorry.
Hey, Wes, you do have an interesting point because, like you said, Cam Newton's offense has been a lot slow lately.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
But the thing is, the Jets are going to play for their head coach who's getting fired tomorrow after the game now, according to some reports.
What do the Jets have to lose? Oh, that's right, nothing.
The number one. They already gave up the number one pick.
They already gave it up. What's it matter?
I tell you what. Wes has convinced me. I'm going with Jets. He knows something. I'm going with the Jets on this one. Give me the Jets.
Same here because I'm like, hey, same
We got
here because
all Jets on this show.
hey, I'm going with the Jets because, like y'all said, because Cam Newton's offense has been horrible lately. But the thing is, I'm very much impressed with the Jets' defense against Cleveland last week, and then Arthur Millette is going to come up big against Cam Newton and get 2 interceptions.
See, hold on, wait. No, y'all were just talking crap about my pick, and now y'all are all over it like it's the best thing ever. Okay, go ahead.
So on fantasy football, like I picked the Jets as my defense this week because like they're 28% boom. Like I mean they're doing way better than both Green Bay and Chicago's defenses right now. So I had to throw the New York Jets defense on my lineup. You know, like
Arthur Millette, let's go.
So I feel like that's a genuinely like good pick.
I mean, that's not a bad matchup for that Jets defense. Cam Newton and that offense is just inept. It's terrible. That's a great matchup for the Jets defense.
Like you said, Arthur Millette and Bryce Huff.
Boys are going to do their thing tomorrow. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Okay, so next up we have Cowboys and Giants. And the Cowboys are a 1.5 point favorite.
Just wake me up when it's over. Give me golly, do I have to pick?
I'll pick Cowboys on this one.
Give me the 50-yard line to win the game. Give me the Cowboys.
I'm going Jets. I just flipped the coin.
I'm going Jets. Give me the Cowboys.
Oh my gosh.
Wes, I'm going with Nathan does have an interesting point. I'm going with the Giants just because one, Jason Garrett's going to take revenge and basically beat the Cowboys and get the Cowboys out of playoffs.
Yeah.
Although Tony Pollard better have a good game. That's all I got to say.
All right, so next up, we got Falcons and Buccaneers. I got Buccaneers, hands down.
Buccaneers all day. Falcons suck.
Yep.
Talk about the Falcons real quick. They did get, I'm glad the Falcons didn't work out with Sark after all, speaking of that as well.
Yeah.
Because he deserves way better than being with the Falcons organization. But, Tampa Bay all day. Tom Brady and good old Antonio Brown and good old Gronk is going to get it done.
Nathan's over here dropping.
Let me just say this.
Nathan is not only dropping a trailer, hooking up to a trailer, but he's also picking games. I love it. Go ahead, Nathan.
Look, I'm just going to say this. And no, I'm done. I'm done for today. I'm going home. And all that. I've done my work week. It's time for me to enjoy some days off. But look, my thing is this. Falcons lost me money in the Patriot-Falcon game. The Super Bowl.
I thought you were talking about this year.
Oh, man, that was horrible.
And I'm going to say this. They cannot keep a lead and hold it against Tom Brady. For some reason, they just can't do it. So give me the Bucs on this. I don't even have no faith in the Falcons anymore.
Yep.
Did you give Sark's thank you card or to his house yet?
Hey, you know what? I'm going to Liberty. I'm going to get Hugh Freeze right quick. We're going to bring Hugh Freeze back to the SEC.
All right, y'all.
You might have to get Michael Orr to go help him.
Packers, Bears.
Packers, Bears.
Packers, Bears.
Green Bay is a 4-point favorite.
Where are they playing at?
Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers is too tough.
They're playing in Chicago.
It's in Chicago, yeah. Give me Green Bay. Give me Aaron Rodgers. I think that offense is just too potent. Devontae Adams is just an absolute man among boys. Give me Green Bay. I think they'll win that game by 13 points.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say this.
I got Green Bay too.
I'm just gonna say this after that horrible Titan game against the Packers in the snow.
Oh Lord.
I hate to say it. I'll go Packers. Put me down for the Packers.
I'm gonna go with Chicago. I think Chicago offense has basically been on all cylinders lately. In a way, I think Anthony Miller might have a breakout game, and I also think Mitch Trubisky finally has got a lot better as well as of late. So I'm going to Jason Smith and then some more teams, Chicago Bears teams, and hopefully maybe Chicago can make the playoffs now because of Anthony Miller.
All right, y'all. Next up, Raiders, Broncos.
Broncos upset. John Gruden's got.
I have Raiders on this one.
No, give me
Broncos. Give me the Raiders.
Yeah, you got Henry Ruggs, Josh Jacobs. I mean, just give me the Raiders. That's without a doubt.
I'm going Denver just because y'all are different. Well, okay.
Wait a minute. Wait, did you choose the Jets too with us, John? Or are you not going to go with the team?
No, I didn't go with the Jets.
No, I think we all picked the Jets.
I think
okay.
Just because of my boys from Memphis. That's what I did.
So for some reason, the Jets got some love now.
Yeah, they got 4 guys that are going to pick them. That's it.
Plus,
and the only reason why they have some love now is because they have one more win over Jaguars. So our next game is Jaguars-Colts. Who do you have?
First off, I want to say Philip Rivers is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. No, the Colts will definitely win this game.
Yep.
Yeah, give me.
Wait a minute, who?
You know what? Yeah, no. I'm gonna go with West because I need the Colts to lose because they're still tied up with the Titans. I need them to lose.
You're going Jags?
Yep. Give me the Jags. I need the Colts to lose. Go Titans. Give me the Jags.
Give me the Jags because look, because here's something else. Trevor Lawrence right now is hoping that the New York Jets don't get first pick.
Yeah, the spread is 14 points right now.
I'm going with the Jags. Give me an upset.
Oh my gosh. All right, Chargers, Chiefs.
Sorry, Patrick. Wow, you're going with the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes?
Yep, Chiefs.
I'm going with the Chargers and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, give me the Chargers, dude. Justin Herbert's really
I like
himself.
Chargers as well.
The only thing about the Chargers, I'm surprised that coach still has a job after losing all these closer games.
Yeah, he
can't hold a lead
this year.
All right, Cardinals, Rams.
Oh, that's the game that could be on a playoff line as well.
Give me the Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals because Jared Goff's not playing, and the Rams' offensive line, or not offensive line, but running backs. I love Henderson from the Memphis days, as a Memphis fan, but their running game has basically been awful lately.
Yeah,
and I think ours. I mean, they still have a game time decision regarding Murray as well at quarterback. So I'm gonna go with Kingsbury and have them make the playoffs with this win. Plus, Larry Fitzgerald came back for another year.
All right, Seahawks, 49ers.
Seahawks easy.
I got Seahawks.
Seahawks all day.
Yep.
You talk about the Seahawks real quick. I'm sure Nathan got the Seahawks as well, right? But
yep.
Russell Wilson has not looked impressive at all lately as well. But the thing is, DK Metcalf has looked like a stud lately as well.
That guy's an animal, man. He is a special wide receiver.
As Lane Kiffin wore his jersey today on the sideline.
He did.
He did. Yeah, he did. Look, here's my thing. You know what? Put me down for the 49ers. Jerry Rice going to come out of retirement.
He better Joe Montana and Steve Young with him. That's all I got to say.
And T.O.'s coming back too.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Saints, Panthers. I have the Saints on this one.
Saints all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saints.
Although Carolina, gotta give Matt Rule some credit. I think he did pretty well this year as the first year coach at Carolina.
Mm-hmm. All right, Titans, Texans. I got Titans.
Titans better win.
Titans all day.
Yeah,
Titans
Derrick
all
Henry's
day.
my running back, so I need him to do well tomorrow.
Fantasy
Yep.
football
Wait,
season should be
Titans.
already over now.
Wait. Titans all day. Derrick Henry makes another stiff arm on somebody and makes
Yes.
highlight reel.
Most
I love it. I love it. All right,
For
y'all.
real, I'm going to Titans real quick, but what did y'all think about J.J. Watt's good old post-game conference last week?
Loved it. Loved
Loved
it.
it.
Loved every damn
Awesome.
second of it. I loved it. I'm glad to see J.J. Watt step up. I really am. I'm glad. I loved it.
I want to see him as a Titan.
Love to see
All
that.
right.
Yes.
All right, y'all. So, Sunday Night Football, the last Sunday Night Football of the season of 2020.
Oh, I'm going to miss
We
Carrie
have my
Underwood.
Birds. We have my Birds playing Washington. Who do y'all got?
Who?
Washington's playing who?
My Birds, the Eagles, Philadelphia, playing
Wait, you're an
Washington.
Eagle fan now?
Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Give
Fly,
me
Eagles fly.
give me John's singing and shit. Give me Washington.
Okay.
You know, I hate to say this to you, Aaron, but I'm definitely going Washington as well. Because Alex Smith at quarterback hopefully will play the game.
Mhm.
And Dwayne Haskins is an idiot for getting whatever he had to do.
He is. Yeah, he is.
But yeah, I'm with Washington and Antonio Gibson. Although Jake Elliott does kick like 5 field goals.
But that's funny, Wes. That's funny because for Dallas to have any chance of going to the playoffs, Philadelphia has to beat Washington. So I got the Eagles on this one. I'm surprised you guys don't have the Eagles.
Nah, we can't say the Cowboys,
Okay.
so we don't want them.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't like the Cowboys. I care less
All
about
right,
the
all
Cowboys.
right. Now here's my pick because I'm upset with the Eagles because they benched my boy Carson Wentz.
Wait, when did he become your boy? You ain't upset with that. Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback. You can care
I
less.
know.
You ain't
I know.
fooling no-
Look, I was trying to give Carson Wentz some sympathy after he got booed in the stadium and everything by his own fan base, even though it wasn't
He's
full
been booed for
capacity.
the last 4 years.
I know, but what I'm saying though is that Carson Wentz can't support anybody no more, and I'm going to say this, and I hope the Titans don't pick him up because I do not want him at Tennessee. But give me Washington though. I mean, you know what? Give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Give me the Eagles.
Wow. I'm going to Antonio Gibson, Washington.
Yep. Washington.
Who's your – is that the last – that's the last game of the season, the last game, right? Aaron?
Yeah, that's the last game. That's Sunday Night Football.
So is Aaron Rodgers everybody's MVP?
Man, that's tough. Yeah. I
I'll
think
take
he
him.
is.
I'll
I
take
think
Aaron
he
Rodgers,
is.
yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody out there. Patrick Mahomes had a couple of bad games. I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers have a bad game all season. When you look at Rookie of the Year, on that front, I think you got to look at Antonio Gibson and just the job he's done. Yes, Justin Herbert's done an amazing job. Not taking anything from him, but
What now?
Well, first, we're talking about the MVP.
Gibson, I
is
think.
Aaron Rodgers your MVP?
Yeah, I'm filling it out now. Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Like Aaron Rodgers is
Everybody
your
what?
MVP of the year, right?
Yep.
Or does he miss David Kirkpatrick too much?
I mean, I'm sure he does.
I think he's missing. Oh
No, guys,
yeah,
I
too
got
much.
Cam Newton.
What?
Yeah, I got Cam Newton. He's my MVP of the year. He's the first. He allowed the Patriots to not be in the playoffs. So he is my MVP,
Yeah, he's
man.
valuable. Yeah, he's real valuable.
All right, yeah, Rookie of the Year, yeah, like you said, Wes, Antonio Gibson, 11 touchdown rushes on the year. The only thing on him, he's been battling the last 2 games with that toe injury, unless he played last week. I forgot.
No, he did not. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when you look at this season, pro, college, all the way around, it's been crazy. It's coming down to the wire, coming down to the very end. Tomorrow in the program, like we talked about just now. There's a lot of games where teams win, teams lose, certain teams get in, certain teams don't. But when you look at tonight's show, I think we had a great show breaking down all the college games thus far. Get ready to break down a great national championship game the Monday after next. We will be back on next weekend to break it all down. For the 4-Star Sports Show, Aaron Smith, John Sturdivant, I'm Wes Pruitt. Nathan Wilson, thank you very much for being on the show with us tonight, man.